Hey everyone, it is Caslo and welcome back to my channel. It's time for the first segment of my RPG Club playthrough of the Sega Genesis JRPG, Phantasy Star 4. But first, what is the RPG Club? I've been an avid listener of the podcast RPG The After Years and its predecessor, RPG The Golden Years. The podcast focuses on RPG reviews and news. They regularly do a community event known as the RPG Club. Imagine a book club, but for RPGs. They break up a community-chosen RPG into digestible chunks, usually about 5 hours, and discuss those segments every 2 weeks like a book club. If you want to check out RPG The After Years, you can find a link in the description below. We begin this section with our sights set on Zio's fortress in our attempt to rescue the android Demi. After a quick jaunt through a nearby cave, we arrive at a town that worships Zio, but there's no time for that, as we head off to Zio's fortress to the south. As we climb the fortress, we have to fight off a mage named Juza before we get to Demi. Then, as we rescue Demi, Zio shows up to challenge us. He immediately puts up a magic barrier, preventing the party from doing anything to him. With this barrier in our way, we decide to retreat, but not before Zio gets a shot on Alice that seemingly can't be healed. The team retreats to Krupp, Han's hometown, to treat Alice and figure out what to do next. Alice, bedridden and in pain, suggests the team seek out Rune, who should be able to figure out a way past Zio's barrier. Demi recommends the party take control of a Land Rover that is stored in a facility nearby to traverse the sands of Motavia and track down Rune. Leaving Han with Alice, the party quickly retrieves the Land Rover and heads northeast to the town of Monson. Monson has been plagued with earthquakes, and we decide to check out the nearby plate system facility to shut down the system, and thus stopping the earthquakes. Accomplishing this, we continue east to the town of Termi, the hometown of the protagonist of Phantasy Star 1, Alice. But we have no time for that, as we need to head south to the Tower of Ledea, where Rune is seeking a wand of legend that can remove Zio's barrier. Halfway through the tower, we catch up with Rune, who joins the party. Climbing to the top of the tower, we find the Psycho Wand, but are challenged by one of Zio's minions, Guy Laguia. After his defeat, we obtain the Psycho Wand, but Rika and Rune get a strange feeling, and we rush back to Krupp to check on Alice. It appears she's taken a turn for the worst, and despite Han's efforts, she passes away. After Alice's funeral, the party speaks to Chaz to express their feelings. While speaking with Rune, Chaz explains that without Alice, he doesn't know what he's fighting for. Rune chastises him before leaving. Rika then approaches to thank Chaz for finding her in the bioplant and allowing her to experience the world. The next morning, Han announces he's returning to the academy to fight Zio in his own way. We then set off for Zio's fort to get our revenge. On the first floor of the fort, Rune uses the Psycho Wand to remove a barrier, allowing the team into the basement where Nervous is stored. After fighting our way through the dungeon, we find the Nervous control center, but are first challenged by Zio. With the Psycho Wand, we can finally fight Zio. After striking him down, he's confused how he could have lost, believing Dark Force had forsaken him. With Zio defeated, Demi integrates herself with Nervous and shuts it down. But, without resolving the abnormal signals coming from the satellite Zealot, the planet's control systems can't return to normal, and the terraforming of the planet will revert. Demi then activates a nearby spaceport that contains the shuttle we can use to reach the satellite. Grizz announces he can't leave his sister, but wishes the party well before departing. We take the shuttle and arrive at the satellite without issue. Once on the satellite, we find the android Ren in charge of the facility. Ren explains that the satellite is not responsible for the abnormal signals being sent to Motavia. Instead, the support satellite, Curran, has usurped control and is sending the signals. We decide to set off for Kuran, and Ren joins the party. On the flight over, Chaz notices something is amiss, and Ren identifies a strange energy coming from the engine room. Inspecting it, we're attacked by an agent of Dark Force, the Chaos Sorcerer, who is really a pushover. However, the battle has damaged the ship, which proceeds to crash land on the ice planet of Desolus, and crushes a local temple in the process. And that's it for this section. Of course, the big moment of this section is the injury and eventual death of Alice. The death hits hard from both a story standpoint, Alice seemingly being the co-protagonist with Chaz, and from a gameplay standpoint, as Alice has been a machine in grinding normal encounters with her AoE boomerangs. Her death also serves for good motivation for the team to take on Zio, other than trying to save the planet by shutting down Nervous, of course. After her injury, you just want to move forward and find a way to take down Zio. This segment seemed to fly by. maybe because I had done some decent grinding, but we move pretty break fast from dungeon to dungeon without too much of a spike in difficulty. However, we do start to get some bosses that necessitate the use of techniques and magic, which is really nice. Lastly, I love that the Land Rover has its own separate battle system. It's something you see more in modern RPGs, but something like that was not being done back in the day. But that's it for this section of the Phantasy Star 4 RPG Club. If you want to follow along with what happens next, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see when new videos are posted. Additionally, if you want to check me out elsewhere, I have links to my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord in the description below. See you all next time.